if I'm okay. I don't see the light of day. Looking up to higher ground, thinking that'll be your sweet escape. These days gotta schedule the romance. They say that love is a slow dance. A short bike ride to the crib using no hands. Oh shit, it feel like I'm floating, but I'm falling with both eyes closed when I let the world spin. Testing the water, she got my nerves tense. Back when I ain't even have a purpose, I was so eager to learn some things. Anxiety bring out the worst in me. Society paint me as enemy. My niggas making it by that remedy. I'm more occasional, don't do it regularly. Backs under my eyes, weighing down heavily. Mama been worried, the devil allegedly deep in the plan. Subconsciously wanted it since I was 10. I thought I was sharp on my scroll and my pen think it did. So mama found shit of them legs. She told me that's not who I am. But nowadays I put on for the fam, see her when I can. I'm surrounded by my feelings, I'm stuck on a Ferris wheel. I bet I perish with 140 acres. She wants the horse and the carriage, a porcelain portion of garbage. I talk to the mirror, I know that life's not the fairest. I lost my can, I can't pay off the bills with the blessing.
Well, first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. I hope you're all having a great weekend. Hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday. Hope you're all staying safe. Hope you're all staying dry. It's a crazy weather past couple days with this rain. So hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's staying huddled in, staying warm, etc. like that. This is episode 5 of the podcast. I do apologize. I said I was supposed to go live Friday and yesterday didn't happen. My apologies for that. But before we get into the video, there's a few things I'd like to say up front. The Maryland versus Michigan State video that will come out later this evening today, as this is live. And we're also today going to give some predictions for NFL Sunday. I know we're just a little under 30 minutes away from kickoff. In this video, we're previewing the Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills and the Washington Commanders versus the Dallas Cowboys. Congratulations to Team USA women's basketball team as they won the FIBA World Cup. They defeated China in the basketball games. Washington Wizards versus the Golden State Warriors had their preseason game. The Golden State Warriors won last night in Japan. So being on the lookout for videos out on that as well. But let's get right into it. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills. It's a home game for us today, week 4. The last time we saw the Buffalo Bills was 2 years ago, and painfully we lost 17-13. And also Lamar Jackson went out in that game. Offensively, we were trash, and so were they. I'm not going to say weather wasn't a factor, but we just lost. We lost. In the 3 regular season games, the last time in the regular season we've beaten Buffalo the last three times back in 2019. The last time we saw Buffalo before 2019 was 2018, and I think it was like 47-3, something like that. This could be a potential AFC matchup, divisional or championship round, depending. There's some momentum from Baltimore after a big win in Foxborough, and then here's Buffalo coming off a tough loss against Miami. So it's going to kind of see how both teams are going to respond. Because I do predict that these two teams will face each other down the road for sure. I'm looking at two. I said it in the previous video. You have two of the top 3 MVP candidates right now at the moment facing each other. Yes, they came out the same draft class together in 2018, but it's going to come down to who's going to make who's going to make the plays when it matters. I'm looking at the number 1 wide receiver for Buffalo, University of Maryland's finest, Stephon Diggs. He currently leads the league in receiving yards. We've already seen what Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill can do and we got torched by them both. And as of right now, our passing defense is trash. And hopefully, with the acquisition of Jason, Jason Pierre-Paul, JPP, that changes some things. But uh, I still have some questions because I looked at the stat. I think we're like allowing over 350 yards per game. And it actually brings to my next point, pass rush. Jason Pierre-Paul, like, yeah, he's catching up. He caught up very quickly with the game, with the schemes and stuff. But how much of an impact is he going to make? You know, Justin Houston was dealing with the groin injury. Adafe Owe, and he still has a registered sack. Like, we have really struggled to get to the quarterback these past 3 weeks, and it's going to be curious to see, like, again today. So it's going to be interesting. It's really going to be interesting. And I'm also looking at the fact of for Buffalo, their run defense. It's kind of interesting that they're a bit of a run defense. I think they're in the top 15. I think they were like 13th last year. And I think they also they were second in both yards per game. So, I mean, you look at Los Angeles and Miami, for example, yes, those teams, they're going to pass the ball. But we look at Tennessee, which is a power run first team. They didn't really give Tennessee doesn't have another option. So I mean, when you have a front line that involves Shaq Lawson, Von Miller, Jordan Phillips, though that really matters. So I'm curious to see how for a team like Baltimore, particularly that loves to run the ball, what does that look like for us? J.K. Dobbins, we're still waiting for him to get back to a full 100%. Justice Hill, after having a big game against New England, he looks like the number 2 guy for now because Kenyon Drake and Mike Davis have not done anything. And I think another thing too is the offensive line. Ronnie Stanley's still not ready to come back. Daniel Falele will get his start at left tackle today. He seems pretty motivated. He seems ready, but we're not going to rush him back. Just keep see how this offensive line looks. But I'll be honest, the offensive line has held its own with Ronnie not being there. I just think that it's interesting that we're 4th with a 76 run block win rate and then like 67 when it's a pass win block rate. So I think you credit that to discipline, and I think you also credit that to just coaching in a sense. So I'm curious to see how our offensive line will do against that front seven. And it's all going to come down to, like I said, making the big plays. If you're Baltimore, don't bend, don't break defense, even though you'll almost allow over 350 yards against New England. I think that it's going to come down to a game of possessions. I think Buffalo is going to come in this game mad. But I think also, too, we're at home. And knowing this weather, hopefully it holds up. You're probably going to see a lot of more ground game. So I'm going to say the Ravens, they beat the Buffalo Bills 27-21.
Guaranteed.
Let's go on to the Washington Commanders versus those Dallas Cowboys. Last time we saw Dallas painfully was the Christmas game, and that was truly an eyesore. We're going up against a team that does not have Dak Prescott. They are limited in certain positions in terms of injuries. It's interesting. So far right now, Dallas is 2-0 without Dak Prescott. Cooper Rush, who had a good game, who had a good game, was 21 of 31, 215 yards and a touchdown. Tony Pollard, who ran for 105 yards, actually did a much better job than Ezekiel Elliott. That's painful for me to say that. So I mean, coming in this game, we've lost 2 games in a row. We're now at the bottom of the NFC East. We're 1-2, and it was interesting. In those 2 losses, offensively, we struggled to score in the first half, and we didn't score against Philadelphia until the fourth quarter. This is a divisional game. You know how divisional games are. I think that a couple things have to. I'm going to be keeping my eye on. That's the offense. I think some of it has to start with Scott Turner. Like, he has been a snail at adjusting his game plan early. And you can see that on the field when Carson he doesn't adjust like that. I mean, Carson's slow to get the ball out of his hand, and it doesn't help that he has an offensive line that's dealing with injuries as well, and a guard center. Like, that all was a recipe for disaster and why we lost against Philadelphia. That's just facts. And then now we're going against Dallas, who have the most sacks, and then by Philly. So Michael Parsons leads the team in sacks. Defensive Rookie of the Year, and I think he should also be considered for MVP. Might even also to look for another Defensive Player of the Year in his second career. In his career so far. We're going to have to adjust on the fly. I'm hoping to see better protection, and I think I want to see a game plan that is going to take advantage of defenders like Trayvon Diggs, who we've seen at times can get burnt like toast. Antonio Gibson, who had a good game last week. I'm curious to see how that looks in the running and pass. And also, too, like, on the flip side, defensive line. Like, Washington has to make opportunities to force mistakes. I mean, I get it. We've been also dealing with injuries as well. I know Jason Smith-Williams is dealing with an abdominal injury. Casey Toonhill is dealing with a concussion. Daniel White should be back, according to the injury report, because he had a high ankle sprain. So that's Daron Payne and Montez Sweat getting more attention. So I need some others. I need Jamin Davis, Holcomb. I need all these guys. I need them to step up. That's secondary. I cannot tell you how painful it has been to watch the secondary against most. So Michael Gallup and Dalton Schultz, they're coming back off injury. Right now, the leading receiver for Dallas is Noah Brown. And CeeDee Lamb has been very up and down this year. It's particularly, I'm surprised by that. And then Tony Pollard, who's, I believe, 4th, is a dual threat, whether he's running or coming out the backfield for a pass. William Jackson didn't play last week because he's dealing with a back injury. Because Brandon St. Just plays in the slot. So I would like to see him play more outside. Kendall Fuller is he's kind of been off to a slow start. I'd like to see some shifts. I really would, off on the defensive side. But it's going to come down to just for Washington, generating turnovers on the defensive side. And how do you respond after a game like Philadelphia? I mean, you're now 28th in the league where you've allowed 27 points so far. That's not going to win football games. So this offense has got to get something going. If we do, it's going to be a good game. If not, it's going to be a long, long game in Dallas. Offensively, we're 19th. We're averaging almost 345 yards per game. Carson Wentz has 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Antonio Gibson slowly but surely picking it up. Curtis Samuel, he's been doing well as of late too. But it's going to come down to the defense creating turnovers. Washington is going to have to make the adjustments early offensively, particularly on that defense against Washington. If they don't, it's going to be a long game, as I said. But I see an upset. I see the Washington Commanders upsetting the Dallas Cowboys 23-20.
Guaranteed.
I can see that. And while we're here, we're going to predict the rest of the games today. The Seattle Seahawks play the Detroit Lions. DeAndre Swift, who's on my fantasy team, is out with an injury. Amon St. Brown is out. DJ Shark is out. There's a lot of injuries for Detroit offensively. But I still think the Detroit Lions will beat the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to say 27-20.
Guaranteed.
The New York Jets versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me Steelers 21, Jets 13.
Guaranteed.
Justin Fields will throw for 4 touchdowns against the New York Giants. 28-10.
Guaranteed.
The Indianapolis Colts versus the Tennessee Titans. Shaq Leonard's coming back off injury. Derrick Henry finally had this breakout game, but I'm still not sold on Tennessee offensively. I'm going to say the Indianapolis Colts beat the Tennessee Titans 25-17.
Guaranteed.
Anthony, what's going on, sir? Good to see you. Good to see you. What else we got here? We got the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Houston Texans. For those that have written the Chargers off already, when they've been dealing with a plethora of injuries, they don't have Keenan Allen. They lost Bosa. He should be back soon. Los Angeles Chargers. I'm sticking with this. They will make the playoffs.
Guaranteed.
With that being said, Justin Herbert has his breakout game after playing a game with injured ribs when he should not have. The Los Angeles Chargers are beating the Houston Texans 35-14.
Guaranteed.
The Cleveland Browns versus the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, the Colts are beating the Tennessee Titans. Yes. The Cleveland Browns versus the Atlanta Falcons. First and foremost, I want to send my thoughts and prayers to Myles Garrett, who's in a car accident. Said his shoulder was messed up, so he'll be out for a couple weeks. I'm glad to know that he's doing okay. Because I saw it and it was very disturbing to see. But I'm glad to know that he's okay. They're going to miss him on that front seven. I thought you don't drink. You think the Tennessee Titans are going to beat the Indianapolis Colts? Interesting. Okay. I still think the Cleveland Browns would beat the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to keep it close. 24-20.
Guaranteed.
The Philadelphia Eagles are beating the Jacksonville Jaguars 35-14.
Guaranteed.
The Arizona Cardinals are beating the Carolina Panthers 28-15.
Guaranteed.
The Las Vegas Raiders defeat the Denver Broncos 24-14.
Guaranteed.
I guarantee. I think the Jags will play closer to on the Eagles. I see that, but I kind of see it kind of starting to like slip away. I think Jacksonville will play strong, but then kind of going into like the later parts of the game, I could see all hell breaking loose. The Green Bay Packers are beating the New England Patriots 28-20.
Guaranteed.
And of course, we got that Sunday night football game, Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady, baby. The Kansas City Chiefs are beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 27-18.
Guaranteed.
The Raiders and Broncos are going to play a game of you win, no, you win. I agree. And then we got our Monday Night Football game. We'll preview that with after the recap of the recap of the Ravens and Commanders game. So those are my predictions for this Sunday's football. This week 4 Sunday football. You let me know your thoughts are on the games and who is your teams to see the beat tonight. I'm definitely keeping my eye on this Titans and Colts game. Maybe Philadelphia and Jacksonville, but this Sunday night football game, I don't really expect much. Play that. I don't have it uploaded on the account. I'll get it up there. Eventually. 27-18. I can't. That's a good one. That. Yeah, seriously. That's a Sunday night football game. The Chiefs and the Buccaneers. I mean, I feel so bad, right? I mean, Tampa doesn't really have everyone at fully healthy. Mike Evans, he's come off an injury. Chris Goodwin and Julio Jones. They're going to test him before the game. I know they're dealing with an injury-plagued offensive line. I just don't see it. And really quick, I know I saw some things with Eric Bieniemy and Patrick Mahomes. I appreciate that. Thank you, Anthony. That's nothing. That was just a coach and his player having a disagreement. We've seen it all the time. I just hate how the media just likes to, social media likes to just make it like, oh, there's the breakup. There's the start of something. I just hate that. And it was all of nothing. I'm pretty sure that once the game was over, they sat down and figured it out. So they'll get it together. The big next person is on. I appreciate that. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you. Really quick, we're going to transition to our final segment of the podcast.
Incoming message.
That actually could be a good timeline. I mean, good tagline. I'm gonna send you a private message. Thank you for that, Anthony. Thank you. Final message. I've seen some things on social media that I'm not liking, particularly when it comes to sports. In particular, again, we can all agree to disagree. But one thing I have an issue with is that we're not reading the room. I think it's interesting to kind of see how we have been tearing one journalist down to uplift another one who made their comments very publicly known about how they feel about sharing the limelight with others. And we're really glorifying that on social media. I think that's disgusting. But again, these are the things that we unfortunately have to talk about. Everything can't be just sports, unfortunately. These are conversations that are a must have, whether we like it or not. Because if we don't address these things, it's ridiculous. Yes, you know exactly where I'm going with it. So we just need to do better and understand that, we have a job we all have jobs to do, and we all have to keep it real. My hot take, ain't nobody watching Showtimes for sports. Yes, thank you. Because also too, the way this whole situation with the Boston Celtics, the way the reporting was handled, it's been all poor. But it's just really interesting to just now really see the true colors of those. And masculinity looks bad, because what I've seen on social media, it's just been disgusting. There's room for everyone to eat at the table. I definitely agree with that. It's just we're not reading the room and we're not seeing the bigger picture. And again, this is not a shut up and talk sports. That's just not going to happen. I'm just going to keep it real, whether people like that or not. But I feel really bad that to see what I've been seeing, it's just been deplorable, and I don't get it. I just don't get it. So, we'll talk about it, Anthony. We'll talk about it. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude the episode of Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. Be tuned in for future episodes. Be tuned in for the Maryland versus Michigan State recap, and also to the San Francisco 49ers versus the Los Angeles Rams preview for Monday Night Football. But until then, please like, comment, subscribe. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Enjoy these football games. Stay up.
But I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. Thanks for the kind words. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk.